Welcome to Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday, Episode 37, Unquiet Dreams, by Fanni Sütő. Read by John Grundvig. Tommy was dreaming about racing cars, and he smiled in his sleep. The landscape changed suddenly, and instead of skyscrapers and urban highways, he found himself in a dark forest. He wore a strange costume, and he rode a horse, constantly looking behind his back. Something was chasing him. He was on the brink of getting away when his horse stumbled and sent Tommy flying into the rocky hillside. He smashed his head on a sharp stone the same time he broke his neck. Tommy woke up to the creeping sense of cold. His feet felt like blocks of ice and goosebumps crawled up his arm. Somebody was watching him. It must be a monster from the wardrobe. Before going to sleep, Tommy asked Uncle Arthur 1,000 times to put a chair in front of the wardrobe door, but he laughed and waved him off. Now the monster would come and eat Tommy. The boy pulled the blanket over his head, forced his eyes shut, and hugged his shabby teddy bear. He hoped his clever hiding place would outwit the monster. He hoped in vain. Something was peeling the blanket off him with a deliberate slowness. Tommy didn't dare to open his eyes. When a small, cold hand touched his arm, he couldn't hold it anymore. He screamed at the top of his voice. A few seconds later, Tommy heard his uncle's steps running up the stairs. The door opened, and in the second before his uncle entered, Tommy saw the white face of a little boy. The apparition dissolved with the arrival of the light. "What's wrong, champ?" Uncle Arthur asked. Tommy had never seen his uncle this elegant. He was wearing an expensive suit and a fancy tie. A few moments later, a pretty young woman appeared by his side. She had a glimmering gold dress and a loud red lipstick which was slightly smudged. Uncle Arthur looked annoyed. "What's the matter, champ?" he asked. "I thought you were a big boy who could sleep alone." Tommy couldn't say a word. He just stared at them in shock. "Come on, Arthur," the woman said after a long breath of silence. "Can't you see that the child is terrified? You would make a horrible dad. Maybe it's best if I stop dating you right now." She brushed past Arthur and sat on the bed next to the little boy. "I saw a boy. He was right here." Tommy pointed to the place where he saw the apparition. "It was just a dream," Uncle Arthur said, rolling his eyes. "Can you go back to sleep now? We were going out with Cindy." "But Mom asked you to look after me," said Tommy in a high-pitched voice. "Yes, Arthur. His mother asked you to look after him," the woman chimed in. "I'd appreciate it if next time you let me know you were on a babysitting duty before I organized a dinner date with my friends. We're already 15 minutes late." "Can we cancel it?" Arthur asked.
"No, Arthur, we can't. We already reorganized it twice. I don't want to push it any further. And anyway, the others are already there. I can't really send them home, can I? But if you want, I can just go alone."
"No, Cindy, wait. We can take Tommy with us. He can just doze off in the corner of the booth. That be okay with you, champ? Maybe I could buy you some ice cream."
"Mom said I can't have sweets after 7,
the boy replied. "Of course she said that," murmured Uncle Arthur. He took Tommy on his back, not even bothering to change the boy's pajamas into something more restaurant-compatible. He let Tommy drag along that awful old teddy bear which he only let out of his hand when Uncle Arthur helped him into his coat. The restaurant turned out to be a wine bar, where all the tipsy grown-ups stared at a sleepy little boy in Spider-Man pajamas. Uncle Arthur was very happy when the cheerful bartender offered to babysit Tommy behind the counter. He had a soft, cushiony sofa in the corner, and only authorized bar personnel could enter the area. Uncle Arthur ruffled Tommy's hair and went off to dance with Cindy. First, the boy watched the crowd of people, but soon sleepiness got to him. In his dream, he was in the forest again. He saw another boy, roughly the same age as him. The boy motioned him to come closer. Tommy was afraid, but his body had a mind of its own. It obeyed the calling of the other. "You stole my only friend," the strange boy said. His voice was hollow and distant, as if it had come from very far away. "I didn't steal anything," said Tommy, holding up his hands to prove his innocence. "There, Bernard," said the boy, pointing at the teddy bear. "I can't rest without him."
"But I found him."
Tommy started but stopped mid-sentence because something horrible flashed through the other boy's face. "Give him to me," he said, but his voice was more like a growl. Tommy dropped the bear and ran for dear life. When he woke up, he found himself in a white room full of strange machines, half-faded flowers, and other presents. It turned out that Tommy had high fever and a nasty virus, and if the bartender hadn't noticed that something was wrong with the boy, horrible things could have happened. Tommy's mother was furious with Uncle Arthur. He tried to make it up by sending an army of teddy bears to the boy's room. Tommy started screaming every time he looked at them, so they were removed very quickly. Thanks for listening to Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday. If you have a submission, please send it to submissions@immortal-works.com.